You got it.
Going.
Okay.
Hi, America. Welcome to Angel in the West.
Indeed, indeed, indeed.
Beauty and the Beast.
Yep. Oh, thanks. That's really great because I know I don't qualify for one side of it. I have to start this week.
With what?
Well, I want to start with the learning spot because I know once we go to the word of the week, which was responsibility, that's going to take the rest of the show.
Okay.
Okay, we got 22:30.
Learning spot.
The learning spot is going to be the first thing I start. But before I go to that, I have to say something about a very good friend of mine. His name is Bill Porter.
Hi, Bill.
Hi, Bill. And he lives up on
He lives
it's 110th
somewhere.
Street.
Okay. Great. No, Bill's
up.
going to have stalkers because everyone knows
Right.
he's on 110th Street. Sorry, Bill. It's his fault.
It's my fault. But I was listening. Bill used to have an audio recording. Right, Bill is White Horse Productions, and he does a lot of video. He developed a single-person, 3-camera studio that one person can operate by themselves. He's a real, he's a whiz in a lot of ways. And but I was listening to some recordings that we made many years ago, and it's the first time in many years that I had listened to them with stereo headphones on. I had just gotten some new headphones, and for the first time I realized how great an audio engineer he is. Outstanding. He did stuff in his apartment with the equipment that he had that is extraordinarily great. I mean, it's really exceptional. A bass drum, you hardly ever can hear the bass drum in a song. You can hear his bass drums. His sound, the separation was just so... I mean, Bill Porter is as good an audio engineer as Steve Scholes or anybody anywhere. So Bill, I wanted to take this second to sing your praises because you deserve it. And I know you're doing much more video than audio now, but I just want you to know, as somebody that you did audio for, you are as good a sound engineer as anybody that works anywhere in our business. And if people use you for sound, they get a first-class technician, and I just wanted to say that, okay?
Thank you, Bill.
Yeah, thank you, Bill, because he is just about as great. Oh yeah, I want to let you people know that those of you that watch us on YouTube, the counts are off. I've been monitoring counts. People have been watching the show. We're not getting the numbers. There's a lot more people watching the show than it shows. No offense to YouTube. I'm just telling you the truth because I pay attention to those things. Or
maybe people are just mad at us and they're boycotting us.
Okay, so now let me do. This is really cool.
Okay.
This is the learning spot. Then we'll do Then we'll do responsibility. Okay? The word of the week this week is responsibility. Where does it begin? Where does it end? Etc. Etc. It's going to take 20 minutes easy. What am I starting good enough? Okay. Good. So now, this is the learning spot. This week, it's based on Moyne's first postulate. Fourth postulate. Okay. Now I'm not even sure what postulate means, but I want you to understand something.
It's a statement that is assumed true.
Right. The degree of certainty in one's level of competency is inversely proportional to the actual level. Now, what do we mean? The best manager that I have handed this to me where I work, and it's going to tell you something, and a lot of you are going to say, holy smokes, this is really true.
Aha.
Okay. See? Don't you get it right away?
It now. Okay.
Okay, listen.
These are called corollaries.
Right.
And mathematically, corollaries are statements that are
consistently true?
Considered true.
Considered true.
Or assumed true based on the original postulate.
Okay, great.
So it would be, here's an example of a mathematical postulate, is that between 2 points, you can only draw one straight line.
Right.
So from that, you get, if you have two lines, 2 points, and with 2 lines that never intersect, then they are parallel.
Right.
Because they are straight lines.
Right.
Does that make sense? So that's a corollary.
Okay.
All
so
right.
These are corollaries. Now get this, and a lot of you people are going to get this, and for those of you that don't, watch the show again. Now listen, the hopelessly incompetent are absolutely certain of their abilities.
That's true.
Okay? And you know what I mean? And what does that mean? That means if you have to be judged by somebody that doesn't have a clue, you're in trouble. Okay. True. 2, the competent always have sensible doubts. precisely for the reason that they can realistically assess the situation. Meaning that if you are competent, you have doubts about your own abilities because you understand doubts are possible. You don't start from the premise that I'm right, everybody's wrong. Okay, great. Number 3, the incompetent never realize they are incompetent. We're not going into politics right now, okay? Precisely for the reason that they lack the competence necessary to discern the difference. Okay, what is that?
Pretty much we're defining tourists.
I'm not going there. Okay, but what it's saying is that the people that are incompetent, they don't know they're incompetent because they don't have the sensibilities to see they're incompetent. This one's a little bit longer. The work of the incompetent tends to be superficial and bombastic. That's, you ever notice when somebody's in an argument and they can't make a point, they just talk louder? By extension of in number 3, which was the incompetent never realize they are incompetent, they are completely unaware of it and usually regard their work as profound and important. The converse is also true. Those who regard their work as profound and important usually have an unrealistic appreciation of what their abilities or lack thereof are. Okay, and listen, if you have to get this again, watch it again, because this is important. It'll eliminate some stress from your life when you wonder, how could this guy be my boss? He's lucky he can find the door. Okay.
I feel that about some people I used to work with.
Okay, the incompetent tend to hire people like themselves, since, for obvious reasons, they do not find their own kind threatening. Moreover, they usually confuse the sensible doubts of the competent with a bad attitude, and the overconfidence of the incompetent with great promise. So that means when you go into a job and they hire the wrong person because that person doesn't know what goes on, it's because that person feels less threatened by them because they're just as incompetent. Okay, here we go.
Oh, this reminds me of a former manager.
Okay.
Woo!
Okay, number 6, there's only 2 more. The competent are only tolerated because they are needed to perform all the necessary tasks that the incompetent regard as beneath them, but which are, in reality, beyond their ability, which answers why we have so many politicians that should be working at the dump. Okay, and the last one. The truly gifted don't even think about any of this. They just do their thing. The converse, however, is far from true. And what does that mean? That means that the incompetent are completely convinced all the time that they are right and no one else could be righter than them. And those that are really competent, don't worry about it. They do the job. So, there it is. I send that out for Greg Gutfeld, who is one of the 2 people on Fox that are truly intellectual. One is Charles Krauthammer, and you may laugh, but Greg Gutfeld is the other one.
So you just called people on Fox incompetent?
No, I didn't call them incompetent. I was talking about intellectual.
Okay.
There's a difference. I sent this out to Greg Gutfeld because he and Charles Krauthammer are probably the only people there that think even about things like this.
Right.
That doesn't mean that the others are incompetent. I think, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that they are intellectual. They think. It's not just, it's the little gray cells that quarrel.
I'm an intellectual person.
Yeah, and you're competent. Why have I always said great things about you? Because you have the ability.
Because I'm pretty.
Even though, yeah, that too. But you have the ability, even if you don't agree with me about something, you have the ability, because you have intellect and competence, you have the ability to accept the fact that there's always some doubt, and that means that you can be educated or illustrated into believing something that you didn't come in believing. Okay, and most times that's called growth. But you know what I mean? But some people aren't. Mm-hmm. There are some people that are incompetent and are convinced they know everything. Those are usually your boss. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, because why? Because they are at a level that matches many times the people that are above them. Okay. Now I want you to know that I got this from a guy who thinks about things like this. I was so impressed with this one I got. I said, whoa, I've been living in a world like that all my life. You know what I mean? I just, because I'm so odd and so,
You are
different.
odd.
I am odd. I know I'm odd. I've always been odd. But, to do what I have a special. Here, I'm going to say this, come hell or high water.
Okay.
I have a calling in my life which I neither asked for, requested, but I have accepted it.
Okay.
And I am living it. The wizard has lived. And there are some people that know right now what that means.
Yes.
And there's some people that someday will know what that means. But no one asked me if I wanted to be the wizard.
Right.
It wasn't like I grew up as a young child and said, I'm going to be the wizard someday. That's not what happened. One day I was the wizard. See, what I didn't know is that even when I was a little child, I was then too. Because I was always odd. Okay? So anyway, so that's our learning spot for this week. Now, shall we? Word of the week?
Responsibility.
Oh yeah, what time is it?
11:04.
Okay. 11:04.
Responsibility.
Yeah, I have to do this because I like to put up the little card now that has a little bit of music that goes underneath it too. Okay, responsibility. Where does it begin? Where does it end? What does it mean?
I don't know.
Of course you don't. Oh, okay. What do you see? Responsibility means that we are.
I think here's the best way
Go.
to define it for me is you're going to take ownership of your actions. That's
Oh,
one
that's
of the
good.
biggest
That's
ways.
very good.
Yeah, and that's something I used to tell my students. They would try and blame reasons why they didn't do
Right.
their homework, or
Oh yeah, both.
or
Could I
even-
say something that would get the circus music on? But I ain't going there.
Even if it was not even things that they didn't do their homework, or if there was a fight
You mean
or a
the dog ate
disagreement.
my homework?
Yeah, and it's I would find myself saying, take ownership of your actions. Did you do this? No. Why didn't you do it? Because of Bliss. That's it, period. Like, don't make excuses. Don't say, well, this happened and that happened and it's not my fault. No, it's your fault. You chose not to pursue doing your homework,
Right.
Like, you chose to work the job, whatever it is that
Absolutely.
you did. Or you chose to go out with your friends instead of do your homework. You
Now that-
chose not to.
That is a great.
So,
What was that again?
take ownership of your
Take
actions.
ownership of your actions. That's what responsibility is. Now, here's a question, and I think this is how people get around being responsible, is defining when their responsibility starts and when it ends. I.e., I like this person. They have a responsibility to me to do A, B, and C. Well, when does that begin and when does that end? And am I a part of that? Do I have to do something so that you know what I mean? In other words, just using that as an illustrated example. But and that's how we mostly come up against responsibilities is people in our lives. Now I have a responsibility. If I want to drive my car, I have the responsibility to put gas in it. Mm-hmm. That's a really cut, dried, really easy
Yeah,
one.
and it's your own fault if you chose not to put gas in it.
That's right. Okay. Now, if I want to buy something, I have the responsibility to have the money to get it. Okay. Not let me go get the money from somebody else. I mean, and I guess some people could argue, well, that's taking responsibility for it because you had to go through the effort to get them. But I think too often, sometimes that's used as a cop-out. Okay, well, I want it and I can't afford it, so I'm going to go to the government, I'm going to go to Uncle Harry, or I'm going to go to somebody else. Mm-hmm. Okay? This will be interesting to you. Let's say something has happened earlier in my life, and it did not make me happy. Mm-hmm. Okay? I have a responsibility to myself to not allow that past transgression to churn my life up forward. It's not their fault anymore. It was their fault when it happens. It's my fault if I carry it. So it's a shared responsibility. But but then once again, taking responsibility often it gets you more off the hook than it puts you on the hook.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I think it's important to take, like you say, taking responsibility.
Take ownership of your actions.
Ownership of your actions.
I was towards the end of last year, I was very angry about stuff.
Right.
Some of it was hormonal based. My things were out of whack, and so I had not great control over my emotional reasoning.
Okay.
I was just very irrational. One of the things I was trying to do was place blame. You know, I was in this position because of something else.
Right.
Yeah. You know,
and it's still true. I'm not saying it's not true.
Yeah, well, I mean, some of it is true, but the reality was that I'm in this position because of decisions that I had made, and so the only person I could be angry with is myself.
Right.
I allowed a relationship to continue for longer than it should have.
Got you.
I
And that's accepting responsibility for it.
I took on 2 full-time jobs, which had certain repercussions.
Right.
I filed for bankruptcy, and even though I felt at the time that I was pressured to do so, and I did it to appease somebody, it was still my final decision.
Right.
And so I could continue to place the blame, you know, and try and say, well, it's your fault, and I hate you because I'm in this position because of you.
Right.
Well, no, I mean,
good for you.
that was like the catalyst for it, for
Right.
some of the things. But I have to say, no, I'm in this position because of decisions that I made. And I either have to say, well, what am I going to do to get out of this?
Right.
Or am I just going to sit and sulk? And I think a lot of people who have trauma in their past, you know, they try to continue to place blame.
Right.
Even though some things happened 20 years ago.
Yeah, and
You know?
and see, and sorry, I'm stuttering. One of the things that comes up to play with what you just talked about was trying to keep that blame on that cause is more distressing and more stressful than accepting responsibility for it. And let's take a situation where something happened to me I had no control over. Somebody was doing something to me. I wasn't asking, You know what? Sometimes you have to be able to assign responsibility for your own protection. I.e., what does that mean? That means that I was not responsible for that which was done to me that I had no control over.
You're not
That's
responsible for
there
what was done to you.
To you.
But you are responsible for
how you react to it. Right.
Yes.
Okay.
And if you, in the situation I was in, I should have, first of all, I should have gotten out of it, but I didn't.
Right.
I should have called some authorities on it,
Right.
but I didn't.
Right.
So, who is, you know, I am...
See, that's why you're smart.
Did I ask for those things to be done to me?
Right.
No, I did not. But I also allowed myself to continue to let them happen.
Right.
When I knew that I was smarter than that. And
Right.
I was smarter than that, but emotionally you know, there was some issues. And I let that go.
Right.
Every once in a while, it bubbles up because there's a reminder or a realization that, oh crap, that happened, or I need, you know, every once in a while. And it's usually over materialistic, sentimental things.
Right.
But other than that, once I started to let all of that go, to just say, F it. Like,
Right.
I'm
Blow
only
it
to
off.
blame.
You got to.
Then I became a much calmer person. Some of that, it also has to do with some of the medication changes.
Okay. Yeah, well, but that can happen because we are chemical beings. And and all kidding aside, there is going to come a time someday when some of the horrific things that we do as humans are going to be less prevalent because we will understand the chemicals better and be able to adjust the chemical balance once. In other words, there's a point where our chemicals are right, and we think right, we do and think. Okay, I'm not talking about damage, but just, you know. And at some point, once we know what those readings are, we'll be able to do a blood test on somebody and say, this person is going to go out and do violent things because his ABC chemical is too high.
Yeah.
We're going to bring that down so that doesn't happen. And when we get there, you know, the world will be a better place to live in. Right now our problem is, you know, we still haven't come to realize that we are first, second, and third chemical beings. We're used to being emotional, we're used to being workaholics, we're used to all of these different things that we call them, but all of them are based on our biology.
Yeah.
Of which we have no control over. I'm still, you know, I used to...
Trust me, I realize that. It takes a lot of energy. When I am PMSing,
Right.
even though
Oh, you girls have it the worst.
even though I'm on medication and it has helped
Right.
tremendously
Right.
to curb that, there's like a day or 2 days
Right.
that I exhaust myself
Right.
because I'm trying to keep myself in check.
Right, and listen, I have another friend. I have a friend, the original Angel. Oh, one week I want to bring a clip of her, just to say hello. Okay, just something from an old show, just to celebrate the fact that she was
She was
good.
here.
She came. She was pre-Angel.
I'm Angel 2.0.
That's cute. But in any event, so responsibility is one, our responsibility that we accept for ourselves, and you have to know where that begins and where that ends. And the other part of responsibility is knowing when it was somebody else's responsibility, and that does not mean judging them. Judging is never safe.
No.
Because you don't have enough information to judge. You know, and how many times have I told you that my mom was a saint, but she knew who was going to hell and why. And I could not convince her, Mom, if anybody stands in front of God, okay, I mean, everybody asks for forgiveness, okay? But it's important to keep in mind that if somebody else is clearly responsible for something that's happening to you, you have a responsibility to yourself to defend against it, to protect against it, or dismiss it. It's out of my hands. I can't remember anxiety management from last week. Well, okay, the only thing we didn't talk about anxiety management is those things that have anxiety that you cannot ever control have to be dismissed. Because you cannot assign a time for them to be repaired. That's why, what do I say? Friendship, prayer, those are the kind of things that can get you through those anxiety moments that can't be assigned a time. If anything you can assign a time to, you get it out of your life, it's gone. How are we doing time? We have to get out at 22:30, so we should start wrapping up. I really love this. This is her 112th show. 112th time she has been here. And we're starting something new. We started last week. We're starting to send out notes, email blast for the on the night we shoot. What's that?
Don't forget to watch us.
Yeah, don't forget to watch us. And we have to go.
Okay.
Thank you.
My pleasure. Don't forget to do something good every day and volunteer at your local animal shelter.
Here I am. I'm minding my own business. When wife number 4 at the end of Long, see, I paid attention. I'm wife number 4. I'm at the end of Long Island. We're out there. This was before, huh? This was between 3 and 4, huh? No, I know what number she is. Okay, it's a joke. You're whining, and you want to know why the joke is. Now, my family, they didn't know this, and I didn't know it. But I did. So here I am. When my mom and dad passed away, I was going through this stuff as a son. That's what you're supposed to do. And I came upon this box of pictures. Okay, and we're going through the envelope, and here's one envelope. It says 1, 2, 3. What the hell does that mean? Yeah, see, you know. I didn't know. 1, 2, 3. I opened it up, right? Wife, 1, 2, 3, all in one envelope. Just like that. Out of my life. She liked Tina. So once Tina was here, that was it. And Tina and I have been together for 23 years. Now, where am I going with all this? What song is this? So I'm at the end of Long Island, okay? And I'm out there, and I call my friend in New York City, Bill Porter, and I say, Bill, listen, we don't have enough money. We can't put out a record. We can't do anything. But you know what we could do? We could put it out on tape, okay? Well, I could afford that, right? We could, pardon me, we could play it ourselves, record it at Bill's house, put it on videotape, and release it. So we said, hey, you know what we're going to do? We're going to put out the first video single in America. Oh, this is really cool. So we did it, and sent out press releases, as you all want to do when you do something like this, and forgot about it, and printed up a few, and we had them in the stores locally, and so wow. All of a sudden, I swear to you, as God is my witness, and if you go to Wizard TV, you can see this stuff. On one phone, I have Variety. On one phone, I got Billboard. They're both talking me. They go on, boom. You know what happened? Well, you see, Sony was about to drop about a couple $1 million to promote Video 45s. Now, we didn't know it. What's the headline? Indie beats Sony to the punch. We knew what the hell was going on. I mean, but it happened, okay? Now, why am I telling you all this? Because I've always loved my fellow man, and this song is called The Good You Find in Man, and it is the first videos. We were on the news, we were on MTV, we were every place. Boy, it was great for, you know, what was it, 15 minutes, whatever it was cool, but if I had a love song to sing, and my words could fall to earth like rain, floating on the meadow, on the shore, across the plains, well, it would be a love song I'd bring, floating on the edges of a dream, calling to the angels and the ages that have been, calling out life is a living thing, you feel it in your soul, you know love is a giving thing, existing on its own. Think of all those love songs you've heard, see if you remember all the words, maybe just a feeling that's revealing someone gone. What do you know about life? What do you know about life? What do you know about life, my friends? Have you ever heard? You may not know the right words, but you can know all about life, my friends. You know that it's a living thing, and you feel it in your soul. You know life is a giving thing, existing on its own. So find yourself a love song and sing, take it to the places you have been, call out to the angels of the good you find in man, call out to the angels of the good, the very good you find in man, call out to the angels of the good you find in man.
And sung by The Wizard.